We're live. Let's do this. All right. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here.
You look fabulous.
Thanks. I'm about to go to a wedding, so I'm like wearing heaps of
Wait, do you have like a headset on?
this one. Yeah, I can.
Hopefully we can try to make your audio a little louder. So.
Yeah.
Katrina, hey girl. We already got some folks saying hi. Hello, Shane.
Hello.
That's awesome. I wonder if the comments are showing on the screen. That's really cool. Let me try to lower this sound. Alright, Jess, let's test your audio real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to test this. Sorry. I have AirPods, but I don't know where they are.
No worries. I'll try to make your audio loud. Just try to speak into the speaker. Are you using Mac or the laptop?
Yeah, I'm using my Mac. Can you hear me? Not well?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just, maybe it's just the music. But I think we should be good. Do something.
Got it. Yeah.
Alright, let's test your headset. Okay, say hello. Test.
Hello?
Alright.
Testing?
I think we could hear you. Yeah.
Awesome, great. Good.
Good. Alright. 7 minutes. Hello, Shar. What's up? I really like this bubble on the bottom left-hand corner. Do you see that?
No, I can't.
If you go on your phone, if you have your smartphone, you could go into the show, the YouTube show, but make sure you have it on mute so that you could also have a monitor. A little hack.
There you go. Oh, how awesome. Very cool.
Do you have your drink in hand? It's morning there. What time is it there?
It is
You got your water?
12 o'clock. Yeah, got some water.
It's afternoon. I got my water.
Yeah.
I have to drink water. The first show I drank margarita and I was getting flustered because I was just getting red. I felt the heat.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to drink alcohol.
No margaritas today. Yeah, I've got, as soon as I finish this amazing interview, I'll be heading straight to the Blue Mountains for a wedding. So I'll be having probably some margaritas then, or some wine. I'm sure lots of wine.
Yeah, I love weddings.
Me too. I haven't been to a wedding in so long, obviously, with everything going on.
Mm-hmm. Did you already get vaccinated?
Not yet, no. I hopefully will be in July. I think that's when ours, we've got some first responders that are already getting prioritized and they've gotten theirs, and then it's like the elderly and people that are not as well as someone that's like me that probably would never get it. Or if I did, I'd be fine. So yeah, no, I'm not first in line, unfortunately.
Yeah. I just saw one of my friends post on Facebook just not too long ago. What they did is they waited at Walgreens, and I guess there's people that are no-shows for their appointments, and so they just
and
give
then
it
you just
out.
sneak in.
Yeah, on standby, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that.
So there you go. Do you think that you'll get yours soon?
I want to get it bad. I want to travel so bad.
So is that how it works? That if you get it, you can travel?
Well, I just don't want to catch it. That's the thing. And so I try to get as much protection as possible.
Yeah.
Mask. I wear the shield. Get the vaccine. What else? Get the bubble.
Everything is available. Just walk around with like a big bubble around you.
It's the future. This is it. The world has shifted. All right, 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
You're good for the next 40 minutes or so? 30,
yeah,
40
absolutely.
Minutes?
Yeah. Keen as a bean.
All right. You're not like maid of honor or anything?
No. I am the groom's friend, so nothing too important.
All right. What were you going to ask?
I was going to say, is this setup behind you? It looks like it's like real, but also not real. Is it your actual house?
Yeah.
And like the lights and everything?
Yeah. It's the wife's design skills.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
I feel like I need to get a neon sign in here. I actually have a neon sign. I could totally set it up.
Yeah? Where are you right now?
I've got 3 minutes in my room.
Nice.
But I have a neon sign in the room next door, so if it would make for the effects, I could totally get it set up.
We got 3 minutes if you want to put it up. No, I'm just playing. What does it say?
It's a woman with her hands over her eyes and just like big lips, and it's just really cool. Yeah, it doesn't actually say anything. It's just a design. My housemate, she creates them, so she has a company called Neon Labs. So if you ever need a neon sign, get you and your audience cost price.
Yeah, I'm all about the neons. I went and visited Tokyo, and I'm just like, I love the lights. I'm all about this.
Neons everywhere.
Raina! Oh, what's up? Hey! Uh-oh. I owe her. She did a challenge on Instagram. She was flowing and rapping, and she called me out, and she said, I have to flow. So maybe on Instagram. We'll work on it, Raina. Chase, welcome to the show. Yeah, so we got some viewers here.
How good is that?
You know what's weird? We're not friends on Facebook. I was trying to tag you.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't use Facebook. That's probably why. We should definitely be friends on Facebook. I just don't use it anymore. I'm all over Instagram now. Use Clubhouse a lot. Have you been using Clubhouse?
I just got invited. I haven't tuned in yet. I heard really great things about it, and so I definitely. You have a channel?
Clubhouse. I'm on it, but I haven't got a Clubhouse room yet. But you would be such a good speaker on Clubhouse.
I heard people are getting a lot of followers, like the minute you sign up, and then they get like 50,000 followers pretty quickly in Clubhouse because it's all the hype right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's for anyone that their communication style is voice, like podcasting and everything that you do, is just like the perfect platform for you.
It's a good it's a change, isn't it? Because usually you have all these visual apps. You got the Instagram, all photos, and then now it's all about voice.
Yeah, I understand the hype of it because it's so easy to just like communicate without having to worry about like where you are, the location set up. It's just like you just speak. It's just like a phone call. It's so easy. So I do love it for the simplicity. It's almost just like taking it right back to the basics.
I remember those days. You remember those telephones?
Yeah.
Just calling people.
Those things that used to pick up.
The voicemails.
Yeah. You get voicemails now and I'm just like, I'll listen to that next year.
Yeah, I have a lot of voicemails, but a lot of them are robocalls.
What's a robocall?
It's just robots calling you, and they're pretending to be the FBI and these crazy like spammers.
Oh, I hate that. Hate that.
All right, there we go. So, how can you become an entrepreneur without an idea. Let's get it. Hey, what's up everybody? Zen here with ClosedWon. Welcome to our happy hour edition. This is a channel where we enjoy a nice cup of joe while covering basic sales tips for first-time founders. Every week, we reshare motivational videos and talk to high-impact entrepreneurs who are putting into work the tips that we learn weekly. Our goal is to introduce you to people and ideas that will help you execute on your dreams. So, very quickly, let's say hi to our audience. So we got Raina in the house. We got Chase, hi. Katrina, Shar, Shane, welcome. If you haven't done so, make sure to smash subscribe. So, how do you become an entrepreneur without an idea?
There's a common misconception that your idea has to be great in order to start a company. And the first thing I want to do is destroy that misconception. Personally, I was one of the co-founders of a company called Justin TV. It later became a company called Twitch and sold to Amazon for almost $1 billion. Our original idea was to create an online reality TV show. Clearly, it's hard to draw a line between that and creating a live video site where people watch video gamers and chat with their friends. But that's exactly what it became. And so don't fall into the trap of thinking that your initial idea has to be great by any definition. This is what you should think about instead. My first advice is to start with a problem. I think that starting with ideas is tricky because immediately people want to grade your idea. It's a lot easier to start with a problem and to think about how do you grade a problem. When you think about a problem, you should be asking yourself, do I have any relationship with this problem personally? Is this a problem that I have? Is it a problem that my friends have? Is it a problem that my family has? Is it a problem that exists with work? Is it a problem that's in my community?
All right, so tip number 1, don't focus on ideas, focus on the problem. Now that you have a problem, why is having a personal connection to the problem helpful?
Oftentimes having a personal connection to the problem is really helpful for 2 reasons. 1, you can tell whether the solution is even within the ballpark of solving the problem because you've got some connection with the problem. And 2, when you're feeling discouraged, and the solutions that you're building aren't working, you still have some personal connection to the problem that sees you through until you find a solution that does work. So that's the first place I would start, thinking about problems. And I think a lot of people keep little idea books with startup ideas. I think they'd have a lot more success if they kept little problem books and wrote down notes on the problems that they encounter on a daily basis or that their friends complain about, their family complain about.
Okay, that's such a good tip. Don't carry around an idea book, have a problem book. What else can we do now that we have a problem that we are dying to solve?
Another interesting thing to do when you're starting to think about problems is to brainstorm with friends. This is the perfect time to start thinking about how do you recruit co-founders. And a lot of recruiting co-founders is about having really good brainstorming sessions. Sessions where like you talk about a problem, they elaborate on it, and you kind of realize that you trade ideas well and that you can talk to each other well and you can build ideas together. And so I really advise when you're doing this thinking about problem, do it with some friends that you might want to create a startup with one day. Once you find a problem that's interesting enough to start pursuing further, the next question I'd ask myself is, why are you uniquely qualified to work on this problem? Now, by qualified, I don't mean in the classical resume sense, like, oh, you've had 25 years experience in this area or something like that. But what I do mean is that, like, is there some angle on the problem that you understand that you don't think others understand? Is there some way of attacking the problem? Is there some perspective on the problem? Is there some personal experience with the problem that you have that you don't feel is generally used or understood in other solutions to the problem? In this phase, it's often helpful if you're solving a common problem to look at some of the people who've tried to solve the problem before, look at some of the products that are trying to solve the problem or have failed to solve the problem, just so you can get a basic understanding of what other people thought their unique insight was and whether it was the same or different than yours. This is kind of your gut check. Hey, is this a right fit for me?
Yeah, that's pretty much what we do on the show on a weekly basis. We brainstorm with our friends. We try to have that gut check. But now that you have a unique understanding on how to solve a specific problem that's close to your heart, how do you get started?
The next step is to start thinking about how do you want to build your MVP, your minimum viable product. What's the first product, what's the first solution you're going to build and release to your users to see if maybe you can try to help them solve this problem. The most important thing to think about your MVP is don't fall in love with it. Your MVP is most likely not going to solve the problem or is going to solve the problem very poorly. And really, it's the first step in the learning process of whether the problem is solvable at all, let alone whether you can solve it. A lot of people fall in love with their product and are not in love with their problem or their customer. I advise the opposite. Be in love with your problem, be in love with the customer, and treat your product in a way that it can change, it can develop, it can improve. Don't be too in love with your initial product. The most important thing to not fall too in love with the initial product is to release it quickly. Oftentimes an MVP can be built and released in days or weeks. It's not going to be perfect, it might not be something you're proud of, but it can be the beginning of learning about whether or not you can actually solve the problem.
That one hit my heart. I have to admit, so the one mistake that we did for ClosedWon is that we didn't release in days or in weeks. It actually took us years to release ClosedWon. But what else can we consider?
The last thing I would consider once you have an MVP is be very careful who your initial users are. I actually believe that your initial users should almost be handpicked. But certainly you should have a strong opinion about who your initial customer is. And you shouldn't try to solve this problem for someone who, one, isn't willing to try a startup, or two, the problem you're trying to solve is not a really important problem in their life. So your goal here with your MVP is not to see how many people want to use your product. It's to see whether if for any group of people, does this actually solve the problem? For any group of your customers, does this actually solve the problem that you're trying to solve? And so the best startups actually very heavily filter the people who are able to use the initial product and make sure that they're the right type of initial customer.
So, in conclusion, today I am so excited to bring in a founder who has practiced all these things. She will share how she became an entrepreneur without an idea. Let's play the reel. She is passionate about the hospitality industry, and she is changing the way people discover restaurants. In 2018, she won the Launch Festival in Sydney, Australia. She was accepted to Launch Accelerator and raised a pre-seed round of $100,000 from Jason Calacanis. She started her entrepreneurship journey on Instagram at Crave New Castle, which she grew to over 50,000 followers. From there, she grew Crave New Media to a boutique digital marketing agency. As the founder and CEO of Eatsee, her goal is to help foodies around the world eat with their eyes. Please help me welcome Jessica Koncz.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, let's do
What
this
an
right.
intro. It's so good to see you again. Last
It's
time
been
was
a
in San
while.
Francisco.
It's been a while, hasn't it? What is it?
It's a
A
very long
year?
time.
Or maybe 2 years from now?
Yeah. I think it feels like a lifetime. Yeah, 2018. Yeah.
All right. So last week we brought in a digital design agency founder from Silicon Valley. The reason is to help people how to learn how to start a digital design business. But what if you don't have an idea? That's why I brought you in. And so I want to start there. Let's talk about how you got started. Let's talk about your origins and take it away.
Yeah, so I definitely think that I fell into business. I sometimes say that I just had no idea what I was doing until I realized I was running a business. And that was where I started the agency. So I'm a massive foodie. I just used to go out and take photos of food that I did at restaurants, and then I'd post it on Instagram. And I just started thinking to myself one day, why is it that when I'm trying to find a restaurant, the only way to discover it is by reading reviews? And I'm such a visual person. We all are when it comes to trying to find restaurants. I was always going to Instagram first, and I just thought it was so backwards. So I thought to myself one day, what if there was this app that was like Tinder for food, and you could put in your discovery settings, where you were, what you felt like, and instead of reading reviews, you could just swipe through pictures. So I remember like frantically Googling whether or not this existed. And at the time, no one had done anything like it. So I thought to myself, why does this not exist? It doesn't. I'm going to make it exist. So that was literally like just this inspiration of, I want this product to exist in the world. So if I'm the only person that's building it, if I could build it even for myself, then I'd be proud that it existed. And I'm sure other people would use it as well. So this was an idea that just kind of came to be because of how I was personally trying to discover restaurants and realizing that it was, for me, pretty backwards.
Yeah, I started my career at Yelp, and so everything was all about reviews. I kind of got trained writing reviews. Well, actually, I never really wrote reviews back then, only after Yelp. But I do get this. I get your point. It was all about like Yelp, trying to see which restaurants were credible, and then I would go and check out those restaurants. I do eat with my eyes. Like whenever I see a menu with great pictures, I want to try it. I don't care about the reviews. Like I want to form my own opinions. But take me back before Eatsee.
Even before then.
Yeah, even before the IG. Who is Jess? Where is she born? How did she become an entrepreneur? Like I just want to know, like, where's this hustle from? Yeah.
So I am from Newcastle, Australia. So you could probably hear from the accent. And I just have a very entrepreneurial family. I've always had this like entrepreneur spirit in my family. My mum has worked for herself as a counselor for 20 years. And then my eldest brother, he was the BD of a startup accelerator program. So he was like, saw hundreds of startups succeed, fail. And then my other brother is a software engineer. So I think that this whole like working for yourself mindset, and if you have an idea, do something about it, has just been like how I've always known my career to like end up forming into this. I just knew that was kind of like where I would end up going. I didn't want to go to university. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life when I was that age. So I just had this love for hospitality. I kept working in hospitality until I had this idea to go off and be in startup land. And now my life is completely different to what it was before. But yeah, I didn't go down the traditional route of university or anything like that.
When you were a kid, were you like trained to be an entrepreneur because you were surrounded by entrepreneurs? And did you always negotiate because you had so many people around you that were basically, CEO minded? I'm curious.
I think that I've always been someone that, like I remember mum telling me that even in school I would like buy things from the canteen and then like sell them for like a little bit more and things like that, like random things. And I'm like, I don't even know where that came from, because I think I was so young that, kids wouldn't probably do that at that age usually, unless they were surrounded by that kind of like entrepreneurial spirit. And I don't know, I have no idea where this actually kind of came from, to be honest. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad I think this way, because I couldn't be happier with like the career path I've taken, as opposed to a lot of other people in my life that they've got these amazing ideas, but they're so risk adverse that they'd never do anything with them. And I'm just not risk adverse. I don't know where that kind of spirit came from, but yeah, I've just always been quite an impulsive person, I guess.
You're fearless. So, what
Yeah.
is the problem that you're tackling? Is it the whole like review paradigm, and you wanted to take things into, yeah, I want people to make a decision with with seeing things. What
Yeah,
problem
for
are you
me, I
solving?
guess the biggest problem was connected to the fact that I felt like review platforms were a necessary evil for restaurants where they had to be on them, but they hated them. And we'd talk to restaurant owners and they hated the fact that people could review them. And things change when you like run a hospitality business. You have, staff turnovers, you have like change of management. And there's so many things that changes in that venue, but that review always stays. So I just felt like, to me personally, that was a really backwards way of trying to have people. Also, people have different experiences wherever they go. Like if you might personally like a dish that I absolutely hate, but that shouldn't be summed up by the entire experience of the restaurant. The menu changes as well. So I just felt like restaurants deserved the opportunity to be able to like be discovered in a different way that wasn't review based. And that's where this whole like eat with your eyes and like put your best foot forward with the pictures of your food rather than reviews. That's where that idea kind of came from.
Right. Yeah, in a way, now that you say that, I'm thinking about group thinking because, like Yelp, you'll see like all the positive reviews, and then what if you tend to agree with the herd versus making up your own
Yeah.
opinion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something to definitely consider. So let's move into the failed experiments. So, have you had any experiments, whether it's for Eatsee or Crave New Media, like anything that you've done that you've tried, but you're risk averse,
Oh,
so
have we ever? Yes. The one that stands out is there's a platform in Australia called the Entertainment Book. And I guess it's probably similar to like a Groupon style thing where you can buy this book, it's all restaurant discounts, and it costs about $80 to buy this book, and it's very popular. And I remember thinking to myself, if we create that within our app, where when someone goes to a restaurant, they can also get this discount, then we could call it, this when the app was called Crave still, we could call it Crave Premium, and you can have up to like thousands of dollars worth of discounts through this platform. So I spent about 4 months building it out. We launched it, and we went from having like 1,000 people using the app a week to like 100. It really like crushed us because people were like giving us like 1-star reviews saying like, we love this app because of the discounts, and now you have to pay for them. Like where I'm from in Newcastle, where we launched it, is a very like, big university town, so lots of students, and they were using this app to get these discounts for free. And then as soon as you had to pay for it, it was like 1-star reviews. And I remember just thinking to myself, what have we done? We need to reverse this immediately. And I remember refunding, I think it was like maybe 20 people that actually ended up paying for it, and I refunded every single one of them. And as
oh
you
my
know, like
god.
Apple takes 30% of the subscription as well, so we lost out there. But I remember doing it and being so convinced that this would work and this would be the way that we make like millions of dollars. And it was just like such negative response. And I still don't even know if like maybe if we had played it out, if it had been different in a different market, because it was this that the way people were used to using it in Newcastle all of a sudden changed, and there was a paywall. But if we had have done that somewhere new where people weren't used to it being free, maybe it would have worked. But yeah, I remember doing it and just thinking, this is the worst mistake I could have made. Like, we have to reverse this straight away. And it was months of development time down the drain and marketing and then refunding everyone.
I know how you feel. I feel like I've gone through this similar experience. We had a version one of ClosedWon, and we had like 10 clients on there, and then ended up building version two, and now we're on version three. So I'm like constantly iterating. How were you
Yeah.
able to reverse? So people were giving you
We
1-star. Yeah.
Yeah, we just turned premium off, took it back to what it was before, so the interface of the app wasn't blocked by a paywall anymore. Put a message out to like all of like sent an email out to everyone, and just said we'd be happy to refund anyone that had purchased a subscription. So it was pretty good. Like, Newcastle is a small big town. It's a great test market. If even McDonald's in Australia uses Newcastle as a test market, because it's enough people to be able to get like a sample size that matters, but it's not too big that it's like Sydney, where if you like go bottom up, you really fuck up. Excuse my French.
Wait, why is that? I'm curious. What
I
happened in
think that
Sydney?
Sydney's just probably like less forgiving. I feel like if you really like, put a lot into the launch of a product, like you would in like what I did in the market like Newcastle is just a bigger scale. So I think it's also like more of a startup scene. So people talk, founder communities talk, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's that startup that failed. As opposed to Newcastle, where it's kind of just like, I don't know, just more forgiving. I don't know why it is, but it just seems to be a better test market for whatever reason.
Huh. That's interesting. I would think that startups communities are more open to startups and more supportive.
Yeah, you'd think so. We have this thing that people talk about a lot in Australia called tall poppy syndrome. And it's a lot of people that are happy to see people fail. And I don't know where that's come from. It's such a shame, because I feel like when I was in San Francisco, it's honestly like black and white. Like I had founders reaching out to me saying that were far more successful, saying that they were willing to have a coffee with me and just talk to me about the things that had worked and hadn't worked. And I remember thinking to myself, this is not what people do in Sydney. Like if you get to a level that is above anybody else, like that person's time is just being wasted on you having a coffee with them. Like they're wasting your time essentially. Whereas I remember being like blown away that these people that were far more successful than me were willing to take like an hour out of their day to talk to me. And they had no idea who I was, this random person from Australia that was asking to have coffee. So I just think the community there is in San Francisco or America is just a lot more like we've been there before and we want to give back to the early founders. Whereas unfortunately, it seems like people are not happy for people's success as much here. It's like if you succeed, you're taking away from some of what my success could have been, which is just like it's an abundance. Like success is not this like little box that if you take some, someone else steals some, you don't get any of it. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's like a parallel with social media in general, or Facebook. One of the reasons why I don't use Facebook at all. I actually just use Facebook to plug the show now. It is literally the trolls, right? Like I'll scroll down and I'll see like these negative things, and I'm just like, what is the point of this? Like I just really don't understand. Current events isn't as good, but we can still focus within. I guess there's a lesson there in a way, which is maybe get out of that pool and then go into the pool of masterminds that will support you, that will give you encouragement, right? Critique you, of course, not give you like a yes, you're doing good, but be around 100%. People that are actually going to challenge you. And so
and I really did love that about America as well. I feel like people are very candid. Like it's quick to get to the point of what they actually think about your business and giving you advice around where they think you'll succeed and where there'll be challenges. I think maybe again, just like a cultural thing with Australians, it's just very fluffy, like kind of like everything's a good idea and till it's not. And it's like, oh yeah, you could have seen that coming a mile away. Like,
that's interesting. I wonder, because there's an exodus out of San Francisco, right? And so this whole movement, I mean, we moved out of San Francisco. I wonder where that group of like
is going.
Where are they going? They're getting dispersed. They're going all over the world. Okay, so let's talk about actionable tips. Let's go here. Oh, I went backwards, I think. But actionable tips to help our viewers start a company, even if they don't have an idea. Like let's go deep into this this whole process. What kind of tips can you give our viewers?
So I can give a really practical one that I can't take credit from, but one of my housemates is an entrepreneur as well, and she's just started a company by doing this exact tip. So she had an exit from another company and was just like hungry to get back into startups. So she spent about 6 months reaching out to just random people that she was working around in this co-working space and asking them to get a coffee so they could talk about the problems that they had in their life. And she just started asking people what their problems were. And after 6 months of lots and lots of coffee conversations, she said that the thing that came up frequently that she felt connected to, she decided that she was going to start a business to solve it. And I was like, I'd never heard of anyone doing that before, where it's just like, hey, can we get a coffee and just tell me about your problems? And she was like hearing these problems, and sometimes she'd be like, yeah, no, not that problem. That's not what I'm going to solve. But she had this like reoccurring problem that came out of a lot of parents that have kids around like financial literacy and how like kids aren't taught about financial literacy, and how this whole business has formed now where she's building this investment platform for children for the first 18 years of their life. And instead of, just buying kids toys and it goes into like landfill, you can, gift that kid money and it goes into this, it's called a Wonder Fund account. And then it accrues interest over time. And for the first 18 years of their life, it's essentially like accruing superannuation. And this whole business idea that she's now started literally came out of her going and having coffees with people and asking them what their problems were.
Is she a parent too? Was she?
No, she's not even a parent.
Wait a minute. Michael Siebel was just talking about how you have to be uniquely, involved in this problem. So she's not a parent and she was able to put something together just based out of surveying people.
I think that it was something that she felt not on a level of like, this is my child that I'm investing in, but more like I am someone that hates the fact that every time my cousins have or nephews have birthdays, I'm just buying these like shitty plastic toys for them. I would much rather have them. And I think personally connected because it's like, that's what happened to us when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Like I have no memory of any present I was ever given when I was under the age of 18. And I would have much rather be able to have like $20,000 to go buy a car with. Like that's significant. So I think that it's coming from the problem of like, if I was that child, where would I have wanted that money to go? So I think that's definitely personally connected to almost everybody.
Yeah. I wish as a kid I learned how to invest too. I didn't know how to work with money. I think this is a very good problem to solve.
Yeah, definitely. We are financially illiterate when it comes to that. We're taught about like algebra in school and things like that we'll never use, but I have no idea how to invest.
Right, pre-cal. I mean, why did I get so high grades? Like, what is the purpose of this? What's another actionable tip you can give our audience?
I think another actionable tip would be, what are the things that you're doing in your life right now that with maybe like some kind of technology, if you want to get into like tech, you could solve to make your life easier. I think that's kind of how I fell into Eatsee. I was like, I wish this existed. It doesn't. I can make it exist. And that's where it kind of comes from, this idea of like, I had to unlearn the word failure a lot. Whereas like, if I'm creating a company that didn't exist before me creating it, even if it succeeds or fails, like I'm proud that I tried to have this business exists in the world when it didn't. And even if like 100 people use it or, 1 million people use it, it's never failure. I just think there's always learnings behind it. So I think if you can just take a step back and like, even just monitor what you do for a week, write down the things that you do. And is there anything that you feel like drawn to that's a problem that maybe it's like just something that if this existed, my life would be easier. And then maybe it doesn't exist, or maybe it does and you can do it better. I think that there's just like a lot of entrepreneurs that end up building products because they're like, this sucks for me. There should be a better reason, a better solution, and there's not. So then they build it.
Yeah. I'm curious, what is one habit that like you have now as a CEO and founder of Eatsee that you wish you've had when you first started the company?
I think that when I first started, everything just felt like, because I had no idea what I was doing, it was all very unachievable. And I realize now that there's a lot of great people that you can, like I said, people in America that were like willing to have an hour conversation with me, pick their brain, ask them questions. And it's just kind of like, I feel like entrepreneurs are just like along the whole way, just connecting and just trying to like work the next thing out. Because if you try and like brain dump and like learn how to, start a business and you start Googling like how to create company and like things like that, you just get so overwhelmed by like the insane amount of information that's available online. And I felt like at every stage of the journey, things didn't apply to me, or it was in one ear out the other. Even around like learning about fundraising, I was like, oh my God, what is a seed round, and like what's a safe note, what's a convertible note? And it wasn't until I actually had to do it that when I learned about it, it made sense. So I would say like just having more of a allowing people to help. Like, I think that's probably it. Like, I used to be very much like, no, this is my problem. Like, I don't need, like, I don't want to waste your time. Whereas now when someone offers their advice, I'm like, I soak it up. It's like a sponge. So I think I wish I could have given myself that in the earlier days. I wish I could have let more people help.
Wow, I like that. I didn't expect that tip. All right, let me play this video real quick. And first, let me undo all of these. I really like Cam. There's just like things that I'm still learning as well. So let me play this.
Well, you're doing a great job of navigating.
I'm going to give you Mark Cuban rule number 1. And whenever you forget this rule, you're already out of business. In every business, sales cures all. Has anybody ever heard of a business that had 0 sales that was successful? Doesn't happen. Yet a lot of people start their business thinking, I have a great idea. I'm gonna do this. This is amazing. I'm gonna go raise money. I just sold this idea. And then it comes back and it's like, okay, you gotta sell that product or you gotta sell that service. That's the first and main key to a successful business. When you're getting ready to start, you have to answer that question. And I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people, 99% of people disagree with me on, right? Everybody says follow your passions. I say that's bullshit, right? I say follow your effort. It's amazing how we're all passionate about things. We are all passionate about something. Helping veterans, helping this organization, helping this group, that's great. But no matter what, it all nets out to where do you put your time? Because when people put in their time, you get better at things. And when you get better at something and get good at something, then you have a chance to be great at something. And you know what I've learned? Nobody ever quits anything they're great at. And once you get great at it, it's amazing how passionate you become about it. Follow your efforts, right? Because it's not in the dreaming, it's in the doing.
Okay, so that brings us to our next question. How does Jess close deals?
Firstly, that was amazing. I feel like I've goosebumps from watching that. That guy is an incredible speaker, and follow your efforts. I really like that advice. So I think that I'm just going to be honest and vulnerable here and say that I think that I'm not a very good salesperson. And I watched your skills as a salesperson and I was like, God, I wish I was like her. So I think that I still have a long way to learn when it comes to this. I think that as founders, you almost become like very connected to your product. So when it comes to sales, it's almost like you look at everything that's like ugly about it and it's hard to sell it because you know that there's so much more that needs to be better. So I think that when I did the best at sales was in the really early stages where I was able to convince 20 restaurants to sign up for an app that didn't exist and pay a year upfront subscription because I believed in it so much and I knew that it would be something that needed to exist and that they should be one of the first restaurants to experience it. So that was like probably the best sales I've ever done in my life. The very, very early stage of Eatsee. We ended up getting about $20,000 from that, just convincing a few restaurants to sign up for an app that didn't even exist on the App Store.
Don't stop. Follow your effort. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. I feel like that was like the best. That was the best I've done at it. I think that I really struggled when I went to America, to be honest. I would go into restaurants and talk to them, and I think that I didn't realize how hard it is for restaurants to be able to just convince them to pay for a platform when it comes to anything in the world of marketing. Like it's really easy to low barrier to entry for products like Uber Eats and things like that, where they just take commission when the transaction happens. But when you're asking for someone to like pay for a platform before anything happens, it's a really tough sell. So honestly, I think that it's been something that has been the hardest part of Eatsee is the sales process behind it.
Yeah. And business owners are hit the hardest right now too. So
exactly.
The sale is going to be
100%.
very, very difficult.
Okay. Absolutely.
Tell our audience where to find you.
So I'm on all of the platforms. If you want to look up Eatsee, we're on Instagram under Eatsee app. I am also on LinkedIn, Facebook. If you want to personally follow my founder journey as well, I post a lot of content through Instagram. It's Jess_Eatsee. I would love you guys to follow me, and also like reach out if you have any specific questions that we didn't get to cover today. I'm always happy to have a chat with founders, or if you're not a founder yet and you want to become one, that's even better. I love talking about those early stages of business. But you should also do a Clubhouse room, Zen. You would absolutely crush it.
We should. I'm down. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoy your water. I think you have water. Say hi to our audience. Stick around and
Thank you guys.
Let's do our outro. All right. So wait a minute. There we go. So closers, I hope you enjoyed learning more about Jess and her journey to becoming a successful entrepreneur. Imagine starting an Instagram profile and building it into a VC-backed startup technology company. Now, as the founder of Eatsee, she's replacing physical menus with a free QR code that generates digital menu and guest registration experiences for restaurants, cafes, pubs, and hotels. I believe that this is a journey that anyone can go on, and that the biggest mistake that you can ever make is to start with an idea. When in fact, starting with a problem will help you focus on providing true solution that your friends, your family, your community would love to ultimately use. If you want to be inspired, follow her journey and check out her business at Eatsee.menu. Rewatch this video, listen to her story, learn and apply as much as you can for free. It will change you if you let it. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, keep on closing. Peace. Becoming a successful entrepreneur isn't easy, but it's not impossible. Subscribe to my channel today, and together, let's figure out how to grow.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.